If you're a Formula One fan, you've been waiting for quite a few months now to hear those rather magical words. It's race week at last. Yes, the 2023 season of Formula One, the second season with the brand new regulations, is upon us at last, and well, we have quite a few interesting things to dig our teeth into already, considering what we've been talking about. Of course, the news build up, all of the things that have been happening, preseason testing. So keeping all of those things in mind, we thought we'd bring you what we think are 5 very interesting talking points ahead of the season opening race, which will of course be taking place in the same venue where all the preseason testing took place, and that is Bahrain. So without further ado, let's just quickly check in and talk about 5 major talking points, or what we think will be the 5 major talking points heading into this race weekend. We'll start off with number 1, and this one should be kind of evident. Are Red Bull going to be the title favorites again? The short answer to that is yes. The long answer to that is, well, they have been the dominant team for the past 2 seasons, and they had a near flawless practice sessions and testing in, of course, the 3-day testing that took place. The car looks like it has very much evolved from the 2022 car, which is saying something, considering that car won pretty much most of the races and romped to, of course, the World Drivers' Championships in the hand of Max Verstappen and the World Constructors' Championship with, of course, the team's contributions, including that of Sergio Checo Perez. So in that sense, it's going to be easy to say that, Red Bull do start the season favorites, but it perhaps won't be as much of a whitewash, or you'd hope that it won't be as much of a whitewash as the 2022 season was. And that's because the team that were the closest contenders to them last year might really have a few things to say about that. But that brings us to our next major question, and that is, can Ferrari overcome the issues that plagued them through most of the 2022 season? Now, there's no denying the fact that Ferrari's 2022 car very, very fast, especially over 1 lap. But engine reliability issues as well as poor strategic calls ended up costing them a number of race wins, and ended up pretty much ensuring that Red Bull and Verstappen pretty much took both the titles on a canter. Now, that is a problem for very obvious reasons. You don't want a one-sided season. It just makes things very boring. So, can Ferrari overcome the issues that plague them? So far, reliability hasn't seemed like too much of a problem, but again, preseason testing isn't the place to be telling that. If they can actually get through a few races without their engines blowing up or catching on fire, and as well as the fact that they would have to be making good strategic calls at times when it's most needed, then you can safely say that their issues from last year have been put behind them and consigned to the history bins. That being said, though, again, as I said, despite the fact that their car again looks really good, you can't help but think they're going to be actually held back by some of the issues, because it's easier said than done to shake those issues off just like that, which does leave the place open for the third team who competed last year for race wins. But where exactly are Mercedes AMG going to be in the pecking order? Last year, they were a comfortable third in the pecking order because, well, they had a car that was too often plagued by a number of issues, most notably the porpoising and bouncing, and they had to fix that before they could actually be a serious contender for both podiums and race wins. This year around, at the very least, their car doesn't seem to be afflicted by the kind of prodigious bouncing we saw off it last year. So that's one bonus. The other bonus will be is how much have they made up in terms of the time gap to both Red Bull and Ferrari. Their testing actually revealed very little because they were pretty good on the first day, all over the place on the second day, and then whatever issues they had on day 2 were fixed on day 3, and they were up and running at a good pace again. So mixed run, you don't really know what's coming, but what you do know is that Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has said that we're hiding a bit of pace. So hey, who knows, maybe they'll be right up there in the battle, but right now, too early to tell. It's hard to tell where exactly they're going to be. And one of the reasons why there's some ambiguity as to whether or not they can even finish third is due to the resurgence of an old midfield rival. Aston Martin, can they be the ones to escape that midfield and finish as the best of the rest in 4th? It's very much a possibility based on what we've seen in preseason testing so far. 2021 and 22 was not kind to that team at all. The Silverstone-based side didn't really produce the best of cars, although 2022 they did improve in leaps and bounds as the season went on. This year around, though, their starting base very, very good, and in the hands of Fernando Alonso, that AMR 23 has looked like an absolute beast of a car. Aston Martin might very well be the team to watch out for when it comes to finishing fourth, or if Mercedes continue to have the kind of struggles that they did last time around, could very well be seeing them competing for Mercedes in that third fight, in the battle for third. Last question, and of course, this one we asked ourselves a lot last year as well, is who would be the teams that can look to upset the apple cart? Now, for me, there are three major teams who would be coming close to doing that. There is, of course, Haas, who look like they have a stable driver lineup capable of consistently scoring points, and a car that actually does look much better than their 2022 car. Then you have Alpine, who are quite clearly hiding a lot of their pace during preseason testing, or to use the term that's rather popular, they were sandbagging. And there is, of course, Alfa Romeo, another team that has, of course, been using Ferrari engines. And last year they looked very good, before that later on dropping off. But this time around, again, the car looks very solid. So these, for me, are the three teams who I'm picking will be the surprise package for this year. Could very well be wrong, but hey, what's the fun of predictions if you don't go a little wrong sometimes? And that, for me, or for us at least over here, are the five major burning questions that you would be, or we would be thinking about ahead of the season opener. What do you guys think? Well, you can let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and don't forget to download the AajTak app as well. Thank you all for joining us. If you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some more videos we may have done. For now, though, from my side, goodbye.